What if I told you there was a single key, just one unifying idea that could pretty much unlock the whole mystery of human motivation? You know, an idea that explains why we build massive cities, why we create art, why we go to war, and even why we fall in love. Well, believe it or not, today we're going to dig into a book that claims to have found exactly that. All right, so the book we're talking about is Ernest Becker's The Denial of Death. Now, this isn't some obscure text. It won the Pulitzer Prize back in 1974. And yet, for so many people, it's still kind of a hidden gem. It's this incredibly profound, sometimes really challenging work of psychology and philosophy that, honestly, puts forward one of the most powerful arguments about the human condition ever written.
And Becker, he doesn't waste a single second. He gets right to the point with this really arresting claim. He basically argues that this one single fact, the fact that we know we're going to die and we're terrified of it, is the main driver behind, well, almost everything we do. Think of it like this invisible engine just humming right beneath the surface of civilization itself.
Okay, so let's really break this down. What does Becker actually mean when he talks about the denial of death?
So here's the core concept. Becker says that we humans, we're totally unique. We're basically the only animals who walk around knowing we're going to die. And that knowledge, it creates this deep, paralyzing terror, an anxiety so big we can't just live with it day in and day out. So what do? We spend our entire lives building up these defenses against it, trying to prove to ourselves and to the world that our lives have some meaning that will outlast our physical bodies.
Now, what's really interesting is digging into why Becker felt he even had to write this book in the first place. See, he looked out at the world of ideas, and he saw a huge problem.
Becker, and he was quoting his hero Otto Rank here, he believed that modern knowledge had actually become a problem. I mean, think about it. He saw a world just overflowing with brilliant discoveries, tons of facts, but no real wisdom. We were, as he put it, choking on truth, just drowning in information without any way to digest it all and make it truly meaningful.
I mean, just think about it, right? You had all these different fields, each one offering up its own little piece of the puzzle, and a lot of the time, they were contradicting each other. It was this babble of views, like 1,000 different voices all shouting over one another. There was just no big, unifying story about what it even means to be human.
So that became Becker's mission, to create that big synthesis. He wanted to find what he called the throbbing, vital center that could connect all these little pieces of truth into one single, coherent, and most importantly, useful understanding of who we are.
So how did he even begin to tackle something that huge? Well, he didn't start from scratch. Instead, he went back and revisited the work of some of the biggest giants of modern thought.
He dove deep into the work of the philosopher Soren Kierkegaard. He tackled the founder of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud. And maybe most importantly, he resurrected the work of Freud's brilliant but often overlooked student, Otto Rank. I mean, these thinkers, they are the absolute backbone of his entire argument.
And this really shows you what his method was all about. Becker wasn't interested in some kind of intellectual food fight, trying to prove everyone else wrong. No, his goal was to find the kernel of truth in every perspective and then weave it all together into this bigger, more complete picture. He wanted to harmonize ideas, not demolish them.
Okay, so if we're all busy denying death, how does that actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Well, this brings us to what Becker calls our hero project. This is where it all clicks into place, psychologically. Becker argues that our very character, our personality, is what he calls a vital lie. It's basically a story we tell ourselves, a fiction we create to convince ourselves that we're special, that we're the hero of our own movie. And by being that hero, whether you're an entrepreneur building a company that will outlive you, or a parent raising kids to carry on your legacy, or an artist creating something timeless, we get this feeling that we've earned a kind of symbolic immortality.
And for Becker, this wasn't just some abstract theory he came up with. It was personal. He actually says in the book's dedication that this whole thing started with his own personal confusion about heroism. He was trying to figure out that deep, fundamental human need we all have to stand out, to be significant, to be a hero.
So when you step back and look at the big picture, pretty much everything, from our career goals to our cultural beliefs, it all becomes part of this huge, mostly unconscious immortality project. It's all one big, structured attempt to be able to say, my life mattered. I was more than just some creature that lived and then died.
The impact of this idea, this grand synthesis, has been absolutely immense. I mean, critics and readers alike have described this book in some really powerful ways.
It's described as challenging, and it is, because it forces you to look in the mirror and really question the foundations of your own self-worth, to question the stories you tell yourself every single day.
It's called powerful because it has the ability to completely reframe your understanding of human history. Suddenly, you see everything, from the ancient pyramids to modern skyscrapers, as these giant monuments built to defy our own mortality.
And ultimately, it's remembered as profound for being one of the most brilliant syntheses of psychology, philosophy, and religion to come out of the entire 20th century.
And so, that leaves us with this one big question. If Becker is right, if we all build our lives on this vital lie to feel heroic and keep the fear of death at bay, what's your immortality project? Is it your career? Is it your family? Your art? Your beliefs? It's a really tough question, for sure, but it's one that gets right to the very heart of what it means to be human.